The Infinite Monkey Cage. I'll give it a go. It is all about alien life in Glastonbury. It's about the wonder of trees with Judi Dench. It's about the volatility of gas, the unexpected history of science with Rufus Hound. How is it unexpected? I don't know, which is why it's unexpected.
Science with funny bits. The Infinite Monkey Cage on Radio 4 and BBC Sounds.
Chefs, are you ready? Gladiators, are you ready?
Put your hands up in the air. Put your hands up in the air. Put your hands up in the air. Put your hands up in the air.
Oh, it's bad. Oh my God.
Fantastic job. Absolutely fantastic.
This is what we call it.
The new series of Celebrity MasterChef starts Tuesday at 8 on BBC One and iPlayer.
Plenty of fresh air in 45 minutes. A countryside summer on BBC Two. Now, let's see how it all turned out.
Back in 2013, Andrew Tragus had a new life down under.
I could so do this for a living. It could be my office every day.
Partner Emma wasn't convinced of the merits of a move.
I like the idea of it. I don't know if I like the reality of it.
Andrew was a man on a mission to convince his family that a move to the other side of the world was the right thing to do. 6 years since we caught up with them last, have the Tragus Woodward family found all the things they were looking for from a life down under. With its amazing scenery and diverse culture, New Zealand has long been a place of interest for British citizens looking to emigrate. But of the estimated
Yeah, we all try to get out of the UK. UK's fucking shit, isn't it?
almost half return.
Yeah, it's rubbish. It's no good. Everyone's fucking nasty in the
On the other
UK.
side of the world isn't as easy as you'd think. Andrew Tragus yearned for a better life in New Zealand for his young family after working himself to the bone in a high-pressure job in the UK. First, however, he had to convince partner Emma that a move would be beneficial for everyone. A trial week in Auckland in 2013 threatened to make or break Andrew's dream. The family's trial week in New Zealand began with a journey which saw them spend 25 hours in the air.
It feels a really long time when you're on the plane, doesn't it?
Yeah, you want to do it all the time, that's for sure.
Despite the long journey, Andrew was raring to go.
Definitely feels real now we're here and really exciting as well.
Yes.
It's going to be a good adventure.
But Emma was a little more reserved.
My fears is that we're really split on our opinions.
Yeah, I just hope we'll either like it or dislike it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't want to come away more confused.
exactly.
The couple now had a week to sample life in New Zealand before making one of the biggest decisions of their lives. In 2013, Andrew Tragus and Emma Woodward were living with Albert, then age 2, and baby George, just outside Brighton. Life was good in the UK, with a beautiful home, 2 lovely children, and plenty of friends and family to support them. But Andrew wanted to give it all up for a new life down under.
We've worked really hard, especially for the last 10 years.
Andrew had recently resigned
It's very
from a
shit.
high-powered
It's fucking
career in the
rubbish.
city, the job he loved, but which eventually had worn him down.
He needs a complete break and a complete change from the...
What a load of shit.
We've
I can't
realised
call my
that
mother. I can't handle it.
it's working.
No, okay, I'll have to charge my phone to my mobile.
Relaxed Andrew rather than driven.
I've got more of these coming.
And I think that's what New Zealand
This is pretty cool, actually.
Andrew knew exactly what he wanted from New Zealand.
It's got to give us a great house. It's got to give us a great lifestyle. It's got to give us community. It's got to give us good schooling. And it's got to be somewhere that we want to live for the rest of our lives.
Emma was worried about giving up her career as an educational psychologist in the UK.
I love my job. I'm passionate about what I do. To give that up and move somewhere else that might not be as I want it to be. It's really hard.
And she dreaded the thought of breaking strong family bonds, especially taking Albert away from her mum, his beloved Nana.
I might wear this
They
tonight, actually.
adore each
I've
other. They
got to
need
find
each
the other
other
one.
on a level. They just love each other.
Where
I've
could it
seen
be?
such an
Oh my
amazing
God.
side of my mum since Albert was born, that I don't think she deserves me to take him away from her.
But Emma was prepared to give New Zealand a try.
If there's a possibility that our family life could be more equally shared out in terms of happiness and potential and enjoyability and all of those things somewhere else, then I have a responsibility to go and explore that. That's about being a family, isn't it? That's about compromise, that's about sharing.
Andrew was convinced New Zealand's outdoor lifestyle could offer his family a better future, but unless he could persuade Emma, his long-held dream would come to nothing.
Emma has to like it, or it's not going to work for any of us. If Emma says no, then no is the way it's going to go.
This country is fucking shit. Oh my God.
Emma and the boys spent their trial week in Auckland. Home for their stay was this 2-bedroom cottage on the outskirts of Devonport, a seaside village just a 10-minute ferry ride from the city centre. Andrew wasn't overly impressed with the space on offer.
This will be good for the week,
Yeah,
and I
definitely.
think the boys will really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But a house that we buy would need to be of a different size.
With Albert out for the count, Emma and Andrew's thoughts turned to the big decision they faced at the end of the week.
It's a big separation from your family, and it is a massive effort to get here.
I'm worried that we're not going to be able to afford the property that we think we are going to be able to afford.
But their fears hadn't dampened their spirits.
I'm quite excited about it. I'm quite up for it at the moment.
It's really interesting just to be here and it be turning to reality now.
Back in the UK,
Got
the
this
Trent
problem.
living in a 4-bedroom detached
It's called the
house.
NHS.
They loved their house and they knew what they wanted from a home in New Zealand.
It's got to be a good size, 4 bedrooms, and possibly somewhere for guests to stay.
It's got to be fairly open plan. It's got to be self-cleaning. Just bright and airy and comfortable.
Hopefully near to the sea so that we can go surfing quite a lot. I want it to be fantastic.
Andrew and Emma owned a number of properties in the UK.
I should wear my
Adidas
Adidas really, but it's all right. I'm going to wear these instead then.
£550,000 for a home down
I've not
under.
worn these for a while, but actually, I thought I'd just put
To
one.
give them an idea of the Auckland property market, we showed them 3 houses based on what they said they wanted and needed. With Albert and George left with the childminder for the day, the couple's search began at the newly built Kensington Park development on the Hibiscus coast. 20 minutes north of Auckland, this modern 4-bedroom house was close to the beach and should have been perfect for surf-mad Andrew, but did it have the space they wanted?
Oh, it's nice. It's a proper family area, isn't it?
Feels like it, doesn't
It was looking good.
Open plan kitchen.
it? Really nice kitchen.
It is a nice kitchen.
Yeah.
I like the work surfaces.
And you can cook. Look at that view.
It's really
and
nice. You can
everything.
just cook. Look at your sea view.
Oh,
And upstairs, the views just got better and better.
What a view.
No, if that doesn't encourage you to get up and go surfing in the morning, I don't know what will.
Every day.
That's amazing.
It's gorgeous.
With 4 bedrooms, this house had the space the couple wanted for visiting friends and family.
That would work really well as a guest bed, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
This house had everything they were looking for, but would their impressive £540,000 budget cover it?
540,000.
It's going to be.
I'm not sure.
Oh,
It's gonna be a
more than
lot,
that.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I want loads of money from the NHS and police in the Hampshire County Council.
Wow.
Little bastards.
£640,500.
It was more than £100,000 over budget, but
That's good.
That's a lot of house for your money, isn't it?
Yeah. For that
For
view.
that view,
I'm surprised. I thought it was going to be nearer 900,000.
that is really good. That's fine.
it was over budget. But thanks to their property portfolio in the UK, Andrew and Emma could have the ability to increase their spending power so they weren't put off. Next up was a spacious 6-bedroom home in Mairangi Bay, also on the North Shore. With fabulous beaches, excellent schools and a lively community, this area could have been perfect for Andrew and Emma's young family, but did they agree?
I like it.
Oh, it's a nice through area,
Oh,
isn't
it's
it?
really
But it's very
nice.
long and narrow.
No, it's not. It's what I do. I think I prefer it to the other house. I feel
It's not as good as the other house.
It feels more homely, I think.
It does feel more homely, but it's just it's not as open
Maybe it's
and
because it feels
airy.
maybe because it feels lived in because this is somebody's house.
It is lived in.
Emma and Andrew seem to have different opinions on this one.
See, I like that it feels open plan, but it's got defined areas, and I quite like that.
The rooms feel quite small to me.
Size was an issue for Andrew, and it wasn't the only problem.
There's a reason why that's drawn, isn't it? Because it's obviously quite overlooked.
And there's a shared access right outside of the house.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can't control in it.
Exactly.
Now that was something they agreed on, but did the garden offer the space the couple wanted for Albert and George?
It's okay. It's not much of a garden, though, is it? Do you think I'm being quite fussy?
What? You, Andrew?
Yeah,
You have to be fussy, I think. But still, there's not much of a garden space.
so I suppose we better go and see how much it's worth, really. If they can't afford it, there's not much point.
This house had really brought mixed reactions. So was their starting budget of £540,000 enough to cover its cost?
Wow.
There you go. 687.
It was almost £150,000 over their budget, but finding extra funds didn't seem to be a problem for Andrew and Emma.
That's a good price for what you get, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting. And now confusing.
It still doesn't make me want to go.
I don't know what to say anymore.
But Andrew's heart wasn't in this house. With two
I'm very
would the
poor.
last property offer the couple
I'm
everything
very
they were looking
poor.
for. It was in Tor Bay, also on the North Shore and close to the beach. This 4-bedroom house with a separate granny annex for visiting parents should have been the ideal home for the family.
Not too shabby, is it?
That view is stunning, isn't it?
It was a promising start.
And it's all about being outside and eating and barbecuing. Ah, it just feels so nice. It feels quite secluded, doesn't it?
But
Can you hear the road though?
Can you get to the kitchen? Yeah.
and the road noise was just the start of the problems.
It's just want to kind of take everything out and start again. It's just not done to my taste at all.
Yeah.
First the road, then the decor. Cracks were beginning to show.
Quite a small room.
All small bedrooms.
Oh, do you know when you're kind of coming into the house
Yeah.
and it kind of looks really quite
It's
imposing,
imposing,
doesn't
isn't it? Definitely not as big inside as you think it's going to be. Especially when you consider that there's the granny flat downstairs.
It looked like this wasn't the house for Emma or Andrew, but did the cost change their minds?
I don't feel confident about making a guess. What do you think? That's 750?
I think about 7.
Okay. My goodness.
That's great value.
Really good value.
£521,000.
That was almost £20,000 under budget.
If you spent, what, 50,000 changing it, that's still 7 means forest.
Exploring the local housing market had been a real eye-opener for Andrew and Emma. Property One was something of a showstopper and less expensive than the couple expected. The second house was 147 and put them off. And although Property 3 didn't live up to first impressions, its price tag meant they could afford to turn it into their dream home. So, did the couple vote for property in the UK or New Zealand?
New Zealand. It was a good day, wasn't it?
Really good day. I don't know what else you could ask for, really.
Emma's vote for New Zealand had been a real confidence booster, but Andrew knew there was a much bigger battle ahead. Back in the UK, Emma was an educational psychologist.
I'm really passionate about my job. It's important to me, and it enables me to empower people to make change in their own lives.
Giving up her job would be a massive wrench.
It's an amazing place to work, and I'm going to have to potentially give all that up if if we move.
Andrew was dreaming of a career change if the couple did move.
I'd love to be a snowboard instructor, and I can imagine waking up and being really excited about going to the mountain.
Once in Auckland, we arranged for Emma to meet a clinical psychologist at the Waitemata District Health Board, and she was keen to find out about her prospects.
Based on my CV, would I be able to get a job in New Zealand?
Yes, very definitely. You're on our wanted list. So it's really a matter of what sort of area you'd like to work in.
It was a good start, but Emma worried working practices might be different in New Zealand.
You're wanting to work more in the child and family area, aren't you?
That's my qualification.
Yes. Usually the psychologist will work sort of across the whole sector, but you can specialise in the younger preschoolers, or you can work with the older adolescents.
Okay.
That was one concern put to rest. Across town, Andrew went to check out his dream of becoming a snowboard instructor at New Zealand's only indoor snow sports facility, and he couldn't wait to hit the slopes.
I could so do this for a living. It could be my office every day.
Andrew met with manager Brad Alwyn to find out what opportunities could exist for him as a snowboard instructor.
So I've been snowboarding about 10 years. I'm just really exploring from your point of view whether it's feasible.
It's definitely feasible. Worth, once you arrive, doing a New Zealand-based qualification. Through the course, we can see how well you actually teach. We can teach anyone to snowboard. We can't teach everyone to teach.
Yeah.
Once qualified though, how much work would there be?
In a full day, an average ski instructor would probably work 6 hours during peak season. Your part-time or casual instructor may only get 2 hours a week.
Okay.
The window that we have to make money in the ski and for you to be employed, it is 4 months if we're lucky.
Yeah.
Definitely not a full-time option. Emma's earning power was more crucial than ever.
How much as a psychologist would you get paid to work in New Zealand?
With 3 to 10 years experience, it's nearer 61 to say about 97,000.
Okay.
You'd be somewhere in the middle there, I imagine.
That was around £10,000 less than Emma earned back home. Would Andrew's potential income fill the shortfall?
As a rookie or a first-year employee, you can expect to earn minimum wage or about $14.50 an hour.
That wouldn't make up the deficit in Emma's salary. Had it put an end to Andrew's dream?
Undecided.
Me too.
Why undecided?
Because although I felt that some of my fears were allayed, I still really like my job at home.
It's a great lifestyle opportunity. I'm just not sure I'm ready to take a lifestyle opportunity right now.
The desire to come to New Zealand was all about the relaxed outdoors lifestyle the family could enjoy. So was a day of Kiwi-style living enough to keep Andrew's dream alive? With Andrew and Emma both keen surfers, we took them to Piha Beach, a popular surfing spot just 14 minutes drive from the city. While baby George was looked after by a childminder, it was a chance for Andrew to show Emma and Albert the kind of lifestyle he'd been dreaming about.
Come down for a weekend.
Albert may have been a little young to fully appreciate the surf, but Andrew could picture it as part of his future.
I'd like to see the boys growing up and see and just surfing every weekend.
It's the sort of thing that I suppose I wish we'd done as kids, and it would be really lovely to record Albert and George that, wouldn't it, really? Definitely.
After their morning riding waves, the couple took the boys to a nearby park for some playtime. So far, the day had been everything Andrew had hoped for, and he was pleased with how it seemed to have affected Emma.
She seems really comfortable here, and when we've been driving about, she says sometimes that she thinks she could live here. So I think that's a really good indication of the way things might go in the future.
I don't feel so far away from home. It feels familiar, but different. It feels relaxed.
So based on lifestyle, did the family choose New Zealand or the UK?
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yay! You're fantastic, aren't you, Lewis, saying all over your face? You said New Zealand.
Despite loving the lifestyle, the cold hard facts couldn't be ignored. If Emma and Andrew moved, they'd be earning a lot less money. It was time to find out if they could actually afford the move. We prepared a comparison of the cost of living in the UK and New Zealand. They started with a weekly food shop.
Fruit
Fruit's quite a lot more
is
expensive.
quite a lot more expensive.
Spinach is randomly quite a lot more expensive.
What's cheaper? Couscous is cheaper.
Okay.
And flour is cheaper. So you have to do a lot of baking.
So it's £37.43 more expensive.
Wow.
It was an increase of around £150 a month. Basing their calculations on the final property they'd seen, the couple moved on to compare the bigger costs of living.
So our mortgage in the UK is £670. Our mortgage in New Zealand for the property that we looked at would be £1,583. So that's an increase in mortgage payments of £913 a month. So we'll be £1,784 worse off in New Zealand.
And that's huge.
That's massive.
And we couldn't effectively do that.
With the figures weighing heavily on their minds, it was time for Emma and Andrew to choose between finances in the UK or New Zealand.
Undecided.
UK. I just think that we can't make this model work, and it's got to be rethought.
But there is wiggle room, and that's why I've gone undecided.
Okay.
Emma and Andrew's trial week had revealed some harsh home truths, and there was still more to come. Emma had worried about taking the children away from her mum, so with watching messages from friends and loved ones back home proved too heartbreaking. While baby George took a nap, they settled down to watch the DVD together.
They're free spirits. They are adventurous. They've done a lot of travelling.
Emma is very zesty. Pretty proud to have her as a daughter, actually, because she's full of life. Oh, but he's the best grandson in the world. There's nobody like Albert. We have a real bond. We do. We really have. Yeah, there would be a gap, a huge gap.
We can't pretend we're happy about it, but we're not unhappy about it. You know, it's just the fact we're going to miss you, miss the kids. But for all that, I hope it goes well for you, and it's what you really, really want. And if that's the case, then we're all for it.
Your mum looks a bit devastated. To say that growing up in New Zealand is more important or better for them than having a relationship with their grandparents is not really a decision I want. They're not two options I want to decide between.
No.
The couple faced a heartbreaking dilemma: give the children a new life in New Zealand or keep them close to the grandparents who loved them so dearly. As their trial week drew to a close, it was time for Emma and Andrew to make their decision.
We've had a really interesting week, and based on everything we've seen, we vote. New Zealand.
Decided.
Undecided, eh?
I think there were two sticking points for me. There was the finances and there were the friends and family.
I don't disagree. There are still some questions that we need to answer. But I still think it's a really serious option, and I think we could make it work if we wanted to.
What's your vote?
England!
In the end, Andrew's dream appeared to be on hold. But of course, we did go back to find out. In 2015, the family were living in Auckland, New Zealand. Emma eventually had a change of heart after spending time back in the UK.
There was a lot on offer in New Zealand. I just had to think about how to make it work for us as a family and and you just have to look harder sometimes, don't you?
The turning point for Emma came when she visited an online forum for jobs in New Zealand. She discovered there was a vacancy in her field in Auckland.
I applied, had the interview. It was, I think, 9:30 at night UK time. So I was in my bedroom, in my pyjamas. 3 people had dialed in, so it was conference call across the other side of the world, which is a bit odd.
Despite the unusual interview, Emma obviously impressed. She was offered the job the next day, but then Andrew began to have second thoughts.
It became more real for me and more scary. In fact, at that stage, it was me that said, whoa, hang on, let's slow this down a bit.
The couple spent months going round in circles, debating whether to stay put in the UK or make the move down under, until
There wasn't a clear winner. There was differences, and so it was just like the only way we'll know is to go, so we'll go.
the Tradegas Woodwards arrived in Auckland in July 2014 and moved into the popular seaside area of Piha.
Well, we always had a vision of where we wanted to go to. So to get there, we kind of stuck true to what we knew we wanted to do, and that was to live out in Piha, really.
It was the vision of New Zealand that we had from the UK. It's living by the beach, it's living in a community, it's being part of something. Whereas in the UK, we felt more like we were a number, and we wanted to move away from that. And Piha has given us all of that.
They loved their new house, and it seemed like the higher you went, the better it got.
This is the most amazing bedroom I think we've ever had, purely because of the view. It's absolutely awesome.
I don't need to check those surfboard because I can see straight down the beach, people phone me and text me to find out what the surf's doing up there.
While the house may have been everything they wanted, things hadn't been quite so positive on the work front. Leaving behind a job she was passionate about in the UK was a real struggle for Emma.
Handing in my notice was really tough, and I still feel really sad about it now. I do still very strongly feel connected to my old job. I don't think I ever won't.
Adapting to her new role working for the Ministry of Education in New Zealand was a challenge.
It is very different. It's very case-by-case centred, whereas the work I did in the UK was more about the organisation and the system. I know psychology and I know how to be a psychologist, but learning how to be a psychologist in the New Zealand context is something that I'm taking my time to learn.
Having worked part-time in the UK, Emma found it hard to adjust to a full-time role.
I never really wanted my hours to increase, but the potential for working part-time wasn't an option in New Zealand. I'm seeing it as a means to an end. It's not something I want to do permanently.
Emma had already put plans in place to become her own boss.
I'm in the process of setting up my own business, my own consultancy. I've been doing some seminars around New Zealand, which is something I really am interested in doing and I'm really happy to do. The point to move here was to explore something different, and in doing that, I need to be working for myself, and that's where we're headed.
At that time, the family were living on Emma's wage alone. Andrew's ambitions to become a snowboard instructor were still on ice.
They offered me a job and I was very excited about that, but unfortunately it's just not really possible financially. I just can't really afford to do the job. It doesn't pay quite as much as I might like.
In the meantime, Andrew was busy being a stay-at-home dad.
My average day is almost completely different to how it was in the UK. I get up and I get the kids up and I get them breakfast. They go to preschool a couple of days a week now, and that frees me up to do the kind of like looking after the house stuff and looking after the family stuff, do the food shopping.
And maybe squeeze in a little bit of surfing, Andrew?
I've surfed more this summer than I've ever surfed before in my life. I'm definitely a lot better than I was, and that has been wonderful. More than anything, I'm just really enjoying getting in the water.
Dad wasn't the only one having a swell time. Both Albert and George were thriving in their new environment.
It fires their imagination living here. I mean, they're both little boys, they're both really into dinosaurs. But why wouldn't you be into dinosaurs if you basically live in something that looks like Jurassic Park?
Albert had no doubts about the move.
I like it here better because I live by the beach.
And for them, it's just a wonderful, amazing childhood experience.
Part of the reason for us coming here was that I would have a lot more of a laid-back, kind of organic, flowing lifestyle, and they do have that.
But it was a childhood being missed by those back home, something Emma was only too aware of.
Leaving my mum has been a massive thing, and not just for me, for the kids as well. And I haven't reconciled that, and I find it difficult. I know that she's not going to get that time with the kids back again.
I know Emma misses her mum, and the kids miss their Nana Rabbit as well.
The family kept in touch with loved ones back home regularly, but video messaging was a far cry from being together.
You can send a voice message with a bedtime story, but it's not sitting in bed with them with all cuddled up having a bedtime story. It's different. It is different.
The hardest part of the move was leaving people behind. I'll wake up in the middle of the night and think, what have we done?
We've made a choice right now that this is what we're doing as a family, and the cost of that, one of the costs of that, is that they don't get to spend as much physical time with their other family members. So yeah, there is a trade-off there. What you gain, you also sacrifice a lot for.
While being so far from loved ones back home was hard, Andrew and Emma had already built a strong social network in Piha.
The community is very close-knit, very supportive, everybody's very friendly.
There's really no other way to live in a place like Piha than to be a part of the community, and I think we've embraced that, but they've embraced us as well. I feel like the really hard bit is out of the way. Those creeping doubts, they go away over a little bit of time. You start to just enjoy life.
It's the fun bit.
It's the fun bit, yeah.
So, had the Traygust Woodwards finally found home in New Zealand? While the Traygust Woodwards managed to make the move, Emma had been struggling to adjust to her new job, and they felt the boys were missing out on quality time with their loved ones back in the UK. 6 years later, have they managed to settle down properly in their forever home? Well, the Traygust Woodwards are still in New Zealand, and a lot has changed since we last caught up with them. Most significantly, they've gone from a family of 4 to a family of 6.
So Albert's now 9, Henry is nearly 4, George is 7, and then Arthur is nearly 16 months. Wife with 4 boys under 10. How does that work?
I'm yet to find out.
We don't sleep much. It's noisy, but it's fun, and they are so very different. It's mentally
exhausting.
I was going to say challenging. But yeah.
So a family of 5 boys, including Dad, doesn't that make you feel even more outnumbered, Emma?
Oh, well, we've got 5 chickens. They're all girls, and the cats are females.
So she takes it all in her stride.
Yeah, keep going.
But what had been a new experience for Emma was being pregnant down under.
I think the trickiest thing was when Henry was born with a cleft. That was diagnosed when he was 2 days old because he wasn't feeding.
See any in there?
I always see 2. And I think that was a little bit scarier for me because until that point, we'd not really relied on the health system here. And I'm used to the NHS and I wasn't sure how that would work out. But actually, that was completely unwarranted because it was an amazing experience. And he's now on this pathway that cares for him until he's an adult. And he gets checkups and stuff and he gets speech language therapy. And it's been an amazing process.
What about chickens? I like chickens.
All the Traygust Woodward boys are thriving and have made New Zealand their home.
The best things about New Zealand are I've got a lot of friends. The schools aren't very far away. And yeah, it's a lot more sunny. The best thing about living in New Zealand is it's hot. I like going to school in New Zealand because it's really cool in it, and I have lots of friends.
They associate with the UK. They know it's where they come from. Albert sometimes says that he's British, but really they're Kiwis, and I think they're really happy to be Kiwis. I think they've just picked up this lifestyle and run with it.
Are you going to have some of the tuna pasta? Yeah.
And 9-year-old Albert is doing very well, thank you very much, in his eldest brother role.
What do you prefer, mint or rosemary? Rosemary. Could you quickly go pick some? Yep. Life with 3 other brothers is pretty busy. It's sometimes overwhelming, sometimes good, and Arthur's fun to play with as well. You can easily make him laugh.
Although their new life down under has come with a larger family, spending it without those close family in the UK hasn't got much easier.
That's the hardest part for me, always has been. I do feel an amount of guilt, really, for having the kids here away from their grandparents. The grandparents are great, they stay in touch, and we do what we can.
You know, there is connection, and they know who they are. They're important people in their life.
But it has worked out being here. So it's just one of those things. But it was never really meant to be a permanent move originally. But that's the way it's worked out.
It wasn't? Well, they've certainly put down roots now. No longer living near the beach in the Piha region, they bought their forever home in 2016. Around 13 miles up the road in the semi-rural valley of Oratia. It's an area that might not be quite as cool, but it's a lot more practical.
It's a quiet, unassuming community, but with really strong, reliable, dependable connections. I think we've landed on our feet here.
We've got this great house and this great plot to live in. I think the boys are going to be really happy growing up here.
Good news is, I think they already are.
I have a nice house, we've got a pool. I just really like it. What I love about living here is we have a big pool, and I like swimming in the pool.
We're glad you like it, although George, didn't you almost scupper plans to buy it?
Nice job, Henry.
We drove from Piha to the auction, and we were late. George got horrendously car sick because we were driving along Piha Road, trying to get here without stopping. Normally we'd stop and take it slowly. So George has thrown up all down himself. I've stripped him off. We've come running in through the gates here. There's all of these people standing there waiting for the auction. There's the auctioneer, and then we come in like stressed and harried, and the baby's covered in vomit and in his nappy. And I was just like, hi.
That's a nice story.
Well, it obviously pays to make an entrance. Where Emma has also been making an impression is on the work front. She left her job at the Ministry of Education in 2017 and started her own child psychology service, and very successfully too.
It was one of those things that came out of what would I want, what do I need right now, and how can I create it, and then how can I offer that to other people, because I'm not an isolated case. If I needed that, then other people would need that too. So, and it's worked that way.
The speed at which she set up this business has been really impressive. New Zealand has afforded her the chance to be more creative around her business skills, and I think she's flourished. So that's just great to see.
I speak in the media quite frequently, on news shows, the radio. I speak at conferences quite frequently on different topics to do with child and adolescent mental health, more specifically recently around future-focused parenting or future-focused education and what skills we need to teach our children today so they can thrive in their tomorrow, which is something as a mum to 4 small humans I'm extremely passionate about. Yeah, it's been really interesting and fun and exciting and challenging, all of those things.
What we know was challenging for Andrew, on the other hand, was his inability to make his dream of becoming a snowboarding instructor work financially. On the plus side, however, he has found full-time work with a job at the Institute of Directors.
I've really enjoyed my job over the last few years, and it's been a constant for us, which has been a real positive. So I'm very much value that. In the future, I'd like to break out and go and do my own thing. Hopefully that will happen over the next couple of years, but I'm in no rush. We'll get there.
But Andrew has been able to break out and do his own thing in his spare time with a hobby he loves.
I do get some time to go off, and I started making music again in my spare time. And I've become a little more involved in the music community in Auckland, which has been really nice. I used to make music in the UK. I stopped as my career developed just because of time restrictions, really. And I felt the kind of creative buzz come back again over the last couple of years. And I've been making and releasing music. I've got a radio show, and I've started playing out again in clubs. But I don't do that very often because we've got quite a big family life now.
Yes, we noticed. However, despite both being busier than ever, the couple still feel like they now have a better work-life balance.
I think the thing about living in New Zealand specifically is that we both work from home the majority of the time. I can drop the kids off at school. I can pick the kids up in the afternoon. We can go and do something after school, go to the park, play, go to the beach.
Right, Henry?
Our life is easier here. But I do think that's what we've created as well. We've made it that way because we've wanted to spend the time with the kids while they're little.
Yeah.
Mum's really fun, and she's always coming on the trampoline with us.
I'm going to eat you.
And Dad's always determined to go outside, hide, and bond.
Whoa, that was amazing!
And there is more family time and all sorts of things that are oriented around the Kiwi lifestyle, which really works for us, I think.
It does.
Yeah.
So, new children, new house, new jobs. I think that's all. Ah, wait, there's one more thing.
Oh, yeah. We got married.
Yep. To get married on the beach was quite special. And Piha is a place that's really close to us. So to actually physically get married there was really cool.
Yeah, it feels like a part of us, a part of our stories.
And our families came.
And so it was really lovely to have all of our family here. And it was a really beautiful day, wasn't it?
It was a magical day. It was just a big party.
Well, I believe that's what you'd call a case of everything ending happily ever after. So, 6 years since we last saw them, was moving to New Zealand the right decision? Let's put it to the vote.
New Zealand! Are you still happy you made the right decision?
Yeah, I am.
Why?
Look at this.
With 4 small boys running around, Emma's career on the up, and Andrew busy with his own business, there's never a dull moment for this family. And it sounds like they are well on their way to becoming official Kiwis in their much-loved adoptive country. We wish them luck on their journey ahead.
I'm Paddy the Baddy Finlay.
I'm Nico Molly McCarthy.
We're 2 mates from Liverpool fighting in the UFC.
Can you believe we've got our own show on the BBC though? Had a lunch at Nick, you know. How'd you say that?
Feel like I'm on Daddy Days, yeah?
I'm getting Paddy something from the Africa shop just a while ago.
This isn't England Chelsea, mate. We don't want to look like bibbies.
Brand new Paddy and Molly Show No Mercy. Press red for all episodes on BBC iPlayer.
Yes, I thought you'd find that funny.
Oh, that's great one. That's another good one.
Sitcom season, weeknights at 10 p.m. on BBC Two and iPlayer.
There's always plenty of interesting things on the Farmers Country Showdown. Have a butcher's for yourself in half an hour. Now, what does summer mean to you?
For many of us, summertime means heading for the outdoors, getting close to nature and taking in our great British countryside. We'll be uncovering top tips, insights and inspiration to help you make the most of the season. From growing your own,
I don't need to go to the shop for my lunch,
to getting close to wildlife,
My goodness me, look at that.
and sharing good times and good food.
Amazing.
We'll guide you through the delights of the British countryside at this very vibrant time of year. For our offering of countryside treats today, Arit Anderson is in Somerset, where she gets a guided tour of the garden at Hillside, the home of landscape designer Dan Pearson.
And it's all about just keeping on looking.
Chris Packham and Megan McCubbin get a close look at some spectacular wildlife on show off the coast of Ceredigion.
Hi!
That was lovely.
And Marcus Waring puts his own twist on the familiar roast beef dinner, preparing it on the barbecue with a few special ingredients.
Let's get these onto the grill.
But we're starting with one of the ultimate summer crops, and when it comes to flavour, it's a key ingredient. We're talking garlic, and here's Nadia Hussain on a fact-finding mission.
Mark Botwright is known locally as Mark the Garlic.
Hi, Mark. How you doing?
Where are you?
I'm here. Go and get some garlic, shall we?
I've offered to help with the harvest. As the ground is wet today, we're having to do it by hand.
So how many acres of land do you have here?
10 acres in here. This year there's 97,000 bulbs in this field.
Mark supplies to wholesalers, delis and specialist shops throughout the UK.
So how do you know it's ready?
So you can see here the bottom two leaves are dying back. That's what we're looking for. That's a sign of real maturity. Should we dig some up?
Let's do it. Come on.
And I'll loosen it up. If you kind of grab the bulb down here.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. That is a beautiful big bulb. Oh, there's bits here at the end.
They're called corns. And they would grow into another bulb eventually. They're totally edible, so you can take them off.
Oh, are they? I hate that. Oh.
We're quite strong.
Oh, that's so nice.
Super fresh.
Strong, spicy.
So you can eat the whole plant, really. There we have the bulb, the stem and the neck, and then this is the scape. So we pick this scape when it's about 10 or 12 inches long, kind of like that. So you kind of use them like asparagus.
Yeah.
And they've got that soft garlic kind of flavour to them. You try a little bit?
Yeah.
Really sweet.
That's so different to the little buds. Much stronger, but sweeter. Yum.
Do you want to have a dig? You stick it in there.
That one we're getting right?
Yeah.
Straight down?
Yeah. Bit of a wiggle with a fork. Careful.
This 9 stone is not coming.
in handy today. Yeah, no, that's not happening.
Well, there's about another 55,000 to do in these last few rows. Do you think we'll get them done this week?
I can hang around for about 8 weeks.
That's good. I think we'll need that.
Yeah.
Maybe even 9. The Earth's moving.
I have that effect.
There it is.
Wait. Yes! Yes. Oh, look at that.
Lovely.
That makes me happy.
So we'll take these few boxes back to the polysalon.
All freshly picked bulbs are destined for the drying shed for a minimum of 6 weeks. Curing the garlic allows the pungent flavour to develop.
Oh my goodness, that smell! It's almost candy-like.
For a garlic lover like me, this is heaven. But Mark has developed a speciality garlic that top chefs are going crazy for. This preserved version tastes like a refined balsamic vinegar and is used as a flavour enhancer.
I kind of stumbled on this 4,000-year-old Korean recipe. Or what they did out there was leave them out in the summer sunshine in the pots for 3 months. The sugars and the amino acids within the bulb react and actually turn the bulb black.
Oh, look at that.
Mark's black garlic takes 100 days to produce and is a highly guarded secret.
This is after 4 years of perfecting.
Should we try some?
Yeah, of course you can.
It's delicious. It's almost treacle-like,
Yeah.
but you lose the spice of the garlic, but still garlicky. That's yummy. So how do you like to use your black garlic?
My favourite is get a whole chicken and then loosen the skin
Yeah.
around the chicken and then make it into a paste like that and then literally smear it with your hand underneath the skin and then roast the chicken like that and it takes the chicken to a completely different level. It's absolutely amazing.
Sounds nice. Yum.
The black colour and intense flavour of these quirky little cloves remind me of char grilling garlic, which is straight from my Bangladeshi roots.
I'm going to use this amazing garlic in a really delicious dressing for my coriander, apple and walnut salad.
This special nutty garlic dressing is the perfect complement to fresh, crisp, summery greens. And it all starts with 4 cloves of garlic and a gas hob.
Burning vegetables is quite trendy at the moment. And my family have been doing it for as long as I can remember. They've been burning garlic absolutely forever. That charred charcoal flavour adds so much to that dressing. So if you don't have a gas hob, this is perfect for a barbecue. You could just stick the whole bulb into the barbecue and let it burn.
Carefully heat the garlic on the smallest hob ring on a low flame.
It's burning the outside, but it's softening the inside. So while that roasts and blackens gently, I'm going to get started on the dressing. And this is really quick. I'm going to add some olive oil. And I like to do my dressing 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar.
I'm using balsamic to give my dressing a richer flavour.
Good pinch of salt.
And for added creaminess, 1 tablespoon of mayo. My garlic has been roasting in its skin for around 10 minutes.
I love that smell. It reminds me of home.
It's deliciously sweet and nutty.
Soft on the inside. It's cooked.
But it's not just the flesh that makes this recipe so special.
This is the good stuff. Do not let any of this get away.
Squish the cloves, then chop finely.
You get that charred flavour. Then you've got that soft flesh of the garlic that's cooked through. That goes straight into the jar. This is the fun bit. Nice and tight.
This dressing will keep in the fridge for a couple of weeks, so all the effort now is totally worthwhile.
Go for it. Just going to give it a little taste. Just check that it's got enough seasoning and if it's garlicky enough. Perfect. And for me, when I'm making a salad, it's about having something fragrant, having something crunchy, having something tangy, and a really good dressing. So this is my tangy.
Any crisp, juicy apple will do, cored and sliced. I've got rocket leaves and coriander.
So herbs make such a difference to a salad. Then I'm going to add my apple. And for the crunch, walnuts. Yum. It's like a twisted Waldorf salad. Now for my dressing. You just use your fingers just to slowly get that dressing, coating everything. And obviously I'm going to have to taste it. Mm. And to dress the top, I'm going to use some of those scapes that I picked with Mark. They're so subtle.
And that's my apple, walnut and coriander salad with my taste of home burnt garlic dressing.
Hello.
Hello.
Fancy some salad?
Mark and his family have never tasted their garlic like this before. I hope they like it.
So what do you think?
That's beautiful. You can really taste the garlic. That's a really good idea. It's great.
That's really good with the apple.
You like the apple?
Yeah, brings that really, makes it really sweet.
Apple and garlic is such a good
Yeah.
combination. Tell you what though, I'm going to need a mint after today. I've eaten my own weight in garlic. My husband's not going to want to come anywhere near me.
Next, Arit Anderson takes a trip to the countryside to visit the home of landscape designer Dan Pearson, where she gets a fascinating insight into what's inspired the creation of his own private garden.
Dan Pearson has been creating gardens around the world for over 30 years and has received his fair share of accolades and RHS Chelsea awards. He has a reputation for designing naturalistic spaces where the garden sits comfortably within the landscape. But all of Dan's creations are composed so that nature in all of its forms are as much at home as the people it's designed for. Dan's invited me to a private garden set in farmland with rolling hills beyond. But it's not for a client, it's just for himself. You moved out of London to come back to the countryside. What was the drive behind that?
Well, I'm from the country originally in Hampshire, and I've been living in London, and I'd gardened every single inch of that garden. Like, I was a much smaller part in a bigger environment.
Right. And I love the fact that as I look out, I just see all the undulations of the hillsides and the trees. And actually, if I'm honest, I don't know where your garden starts and finishes.
This is what I wanted to achieve. So it's great to hear that, because the landscape is the ultimate driver for this. I didn't want it to feel that there was a beginning or an end, because the garden and the landscape are completely interlinked.
Mm-hmm.
And those blurred boundaries for me are really interesting.
Yeah, you're trying to have that invitation of the landscape coming toward the garden.
Absolutely. So all that we see in the far distance contributes to the near distance.
Before Dan even started designing the garden, he wanted to understand the conditions of this site, which is on a very steep hillside. Did you find the conditions of this site a challenge or something to really embrace?
Well, both. It's an exposed site. We're windy and we're southwest facing, so it's blazing sunshine when the sun's out.
Right.
First few years I was here was really very much about finding the right plant for the right place here and making sure that I wasn't competing with the environment, so that I was gardening with things that were suitable for here. The little ark of plants that I brought with me from the pecking garden, 3 carfuls, sat here on the hill, and they'd had this very easygoing life in London, you know, and they came here and thought, what the hell have you done? And they tell you very quickly that these conditions are different, and you have to work out why, and then how you mitigate for that. It was 5 years I spent before we actually started the garden.
That's a commitment of time, isn't it? It's not a case of just coming to the site, overlaying a plan and looking up in the book, sunny plant, sunny place. That really is an intense process.
It is, and one of the amazing things about gardening, I think, is the continuity or the process. And the process is often the very best bit. It's not the end result. So for me, because I've always gardened, you know, you're in process with gardening and finding out where you make your mistakes and finding out where your successes are. as then putting the final thing together.
He started by putting in a vegetable and ornamental herb garden, and once he was happy with his plant choices, he could develop the rest of the space, creating terraces which follow the contours of the hillside and wildflower meadows. As you would look out from your house, what was that view that you wanted to experience?
So my first impression of this place was that it was all about the view, and I didn't want for there to be an immediately obvious garden here. So let's get right up to the front of the house.
It's that sensitivity of the land, isn't it? It's really observing what's around you.
Allowing yourself to try and understand what a sense of place is at the very beginning is really key.
Here there is a clear context. How can we achieve this in a smaller space?
I think it's just about letting your eye travel a little bit first, and your surroundings, wherever you are, even in an urban situation, are often really interesting. And you can borrow your neighbour's tree. It doesn't have to be yours to contribute to your garden. And the way the aspect of a garden lies, that's going to give you some clues as to how that space should feel, whether it's west facing and the light comes in the end of the day, or east facing or the morning. Those things are really informative in terms of how you might then plant the garden.
There's no excuse then, is what you're saying.
No, exactly. But it's all about just keeping on looking and feeling what it's telling you.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting to hear how Dan has spent so much time experimenting and trialling plants for this site before he even decided where they were going to actually go. And I guess we gardeners can take something from that it is okay to experiment and know that sometimes we are going to get things wrong. The key to it is just take time. I absolutely love this section.
The meadows really drive the aesthetic of the garden, so there's a seamlessness between the two. And what I'm doing is emulating the quality of those meadows and also the way they function together. So in here, for instance, I've brought in cultivated plants that feel very much like the things you'll find in the meadows, like this Scabiosa ochroluca, or some of the grasses that you'll find are just rising through here. So there's this quality of the land coming into the garden and the garden stepping into the land. But the other thing that's most important really is that all these plants share a liking for the same conditions. And once you choose the plants that are all happy in the same place, then you can start to play with them as a composition. And then I've got other plants which come through in layers amongst these key players, so that you get one thing superseding the next, as you might in a meadow.
This border is alive. I'm seeing so much activity. And again, that's part of those observations of nature, is it?
The biodiversity has just exploded because we're doing something that's
yeah, I've got, yeah. Look what I've got.
And then as I'm looking out, I can see, with the shade, because it's nice and floaty and bouncy, your eye just can start to float off.
Travel through it.
Yeah.
I've got loads of these different colours.
The self-seeders, how do you manage those?
And do you know what? I think it was this morning, I seen my neighbour, he come out with a little tiny kid, like probably a little boy about this big. And I thought, well, he'd love one of these, I reckon. I'm sure he will. A little boy, one of these.
You have to maintain the limbo.
Yeah, I think he would love it. I popped to the store last night and I said, I've got some goodies, man. And he said, no, I'm not interested at the moment. I said, that's right. But he didn't come out, he was on the intercom.
It's just a gentle
so I could hear his voice and he was saying, no, not a moment, mate, I'm all right.
This is a grand scale garden,
what I bought was different. Because I thought, well, I'll buy more choice sort of stuff. I've got a few beach balls, but I think it's not worth getting any more of those. Because the weather's going to get shit straight away, isn't it?
For the right place.
Another few weeks and it'll be pouring down with rain and it'll be windy, it'll be terrible.
Final ingredient, patience.
And probably snow and all that eventually. So I mean, we won't be wanting any more beach balls, I don't think.
We will create.
But definitely this sort of stuff. This is great.
Space.
And I've got these
now
as well.
For something truly spectacular. We're heading
and I've got
to
these
South West Wales. and getting a sensory overload with Chris and Megan, hundreds of seabirds and a special sighting of dolphins.
I'll give him some of these away. Actually, you see this. Hurt me.
There couldn't be better conditions for dolphins, really.
Well, there could be slightly better conditions.
Well, a bit more sun, maybe.
The better conditions could be that you've got a flask in here with vegan hot chocolate in it.
You know, I'm not a magician.
You say yes, I say no. You say why, I say go, go, go. You're the NHS, now go.
I'd love to see a big one.
Oh, right here.
Hey!
I told you I've never been here and not seen them.
Oh, look at them. Just porpoising out the water.
Oh my goodness, look, right here on the wall.
I've got no weed.
That's a superb view.
I'm not worried though, because I mean I'm quite happy smoking tobacco. Because I do worry about being giddy and all that. My brain was bleeding, and I did nearly die. So I guess it's probably advisable not to actually smoke weed. Maybe one joint, maybe. But I mean, I do think it'd be best to put all weed and cannabis in cafes. I mean, then all the people could be monitored and checked and see how they are. And,
Come on, enjoy it. You're going to do it.
yeah, enjoy it. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Okay. That was brilliant. They're doing it.
Oh no, what am I doing? Got it.
Oh, I need to get my camera out. I cannot have this.
Too late, beast, it's happened.
Oh my God.
See that? That was amazing.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Beyond your reach, you know, it's their realm, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You're floundering around in the water and they're slipping past you so effortlessly.
But it's also relatable, isn't it? You know, if we tell people that they call each other by unique whistles that equate to names, or that youngsters play in the wake and they breach like that. Exactly like that.
Cracking view through the binoculars. Thank goodness I put that awful camera down. Just decided to have a great view. Putting on a sensational show, aren't they? Oh, look, did you get that?
I did.
Look at them. Wanted to do something.
Go on.
Give me a camera. You've got to sit down.
I thought you were going to say, give me a kiss. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Now, give me a kiss. Go on, give me a kiss.
No, sit that side. Right, and now you've got to close your eyes.
Okay.
Close your eyes, I'm gonna kiss you.
This is overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a kiss.
I like
Is that what it is? Oh my
trying to hear
God.
an individual voice, you know. Just checking you've got your eyes closed. No.
Oh.
Maybe we should also hold our noses too.
Hold your nose.
Yeah, then we can't smell anything. Just kind of
Hold
concentrate
your
all of our
nose.
senses on
I can
sound.
kind of get away with the eyes closed thing, but hold it.
No, come on, hold your nose. Just join in. I'm doing it. I'll do it. So I don't want to smell anything. I just want to concentrate solely on sound. I
Okay.
can smell the sea and everything at the moment. I don't want to smell it.
You look ridiculous.
I may look ridiculous, but I'm immersing
Are you holding your
myself.
breath as well?
I am. I'm immersing myself solely in sound.
I look after myself.
Go
Yeah,
on.
I do.
Hold
This
your
is
nose.
really,
No wonder people think nature
I
lovers.
suggest you
over
don't
art.
go to, don't bother with doctors and nurses and all that sort of stuff. don't go to a hospital because you're going to be laying down a corridor and you'll be laying there forever. But they probably won't do nothing.
I was conducting the herring guard. It's like an orchestra of sound. I was bringing.
And if you phone up 111, they're going to say, "Tell me about your chest," and it might be something else. But all they ever do is say, "Tell me about your chest."
With a brilliant barbecue recipe.
It's
that will
rubbish
have
what they
meat
do.
eaters everywhere in a seventh heaven. Marcus Waring shows us how to make roast beef, but with a summary twist or two.
I'm making a dish inspired by the traditional roast beef dinners of my childhood. Before I come to the beef, I just need to get these potatoes onto the grill. So some lovely new potatoes. No need to peel them. Some butter. Good pinch of salt. We'll just use to cut our potatoes up, lightly boil them and put them into a tray in the oven. But I want to cook everything outside. Not like your normal roast potato. It's a little bit different, but it is worth a try. I'm just going to fold this over. Just make a nice parcel. So it's all sealed. There we go. Ready to go on? By putting them into the embers, the potatoes will take on extra crispiness and a lovely smoky flavour. What we've got here, we've got these lovely ribs. And I've just made up a dry rub, which is a seasoning of paprika, oregano, salt and pepper, crushed together in the pestle and mortar. You can be very generous with the seasoning. This is a thick piece of meat, so don't worry about over seasoning it. You won't. Dry rubs on, and let's get these onto the grill.
I don't know what to say.
That is all about patience.
Every day I walk around
in
town
and just cut them straight in half.
with a frown. I'm not happy.
Turning the beef on its side to cook means the fat will melt into the flavours of the dried herbs. So onions, put them straight down on there. Don't need any oil. Just let the sweetness of the onion do their thing. I'm also making a glaze with bitter ale, mustard and vinegar, plus a magic ingredient. This is the best bit for me.
Yeah.
Honey. I'm just going to just pour that in there. And that'll just create a lovely stickiness to go on the outside. And I've prepared one of these, which is a nice bunch of herbs. I'm going to use that as my brush for my meat. This is not the sort of thing my mum ever used to do. Brush.
My mum got me sectioned.
It was the traditional meat that we
I
always
don't
had.
know why.
That's what my dad wanted on Sunday. And so there is a little bit of comfort that goes with the roast that I just absolutely. This is a little bit different, but I'm taking the concept, the theory of the humble roast dinner, and I'm just doing it my way. I've blended green herbs and garlic.
I used to cook. I did, honestly.
Serve with this.
I would cook
And those
meals for my
potatoes should be
daughter
ready too.
and take her to school and all that.
So basically, where the embers have
I'd make a
foil,
really nice
it's
meal,
just
actually.
lightly
I
baked
was
and
pretty good
roasted
cook,
them.
really.
And then you've got the lovely soft potato underneath. And then we just pile them up in the bowl. Put down my onions, nice and caramelised. Now for the beef. Delicious. I'll put one hole on there so that everyone can help themselves. There you go. And this one is a slice. You've got that lovely charred caramelisation on the outside and a lovely pink beef in the centre. It's perfect, absolutely perfect. There we go. Just like Sunday roast back at home with a twist.
Thanks, Marcus. We hope you've enjoyed today's Countryside Summer Specials. Do join us again for more next time.
Oh.
Revive.
revolutionary, modernist and artistic icon, but what was the story behind becoming Matisse? Watch now on BBC iPlayer. And marking 100 years since the birth of author James Baldwin, listen to the groundbreaking Giovanni's Room audiobook on Sounds.
Four celebrities and their loved ones are about to find out that this is no holiday. Celebrity Race Across the World, Wednesday at 9 on BBC One and iPlayer.
Discover unique stories.
Have you any idea how many people he evacuated? Me personally, it was over 400. That was what he was born to do. We will see in this series that ignorance is not simply the negative of knowledge, but a positive force with its own momentum.
Under the hammer here in half an hour after another rural rumble.
Across the country, thousands of farming families work tirelessly around the clock.
Hi, babies.
We enjoy what we do, so that's why we do it, because we love it.
But there are special days each year
Good girls, well done.
when they get to leave the daily routine behind.
Lift! Good boy!
It's their chance to come together as a community.
My favourite animal is a turkey.
To show off the best of their breeds.
Please can you vacate the area so that judging can commence?
And the pick of their produce.
Cheers.
Sour sauce for your burger? One cheese and onion, one beef.
There will be highs
Yeah. Didn't she do well?
and lows. For the dedicated farmers who give everything to walk away a champion.
We're just very excited.
Up and down the country, are the legacy alive.
Who would like a bit of cheese?
Today, more than half of UK farmers have diversified, selling their homegrown goods at farmers' markets.
How you doing, sir? Would you like to have a nibble of everything?
To enthusiastic customers who have a passion for sustainable produce.
Good selection there.
Here in Somerset, Hugh and Graham Padfield
I think we'll make that tenner, don't you?
No, I reckon.
in the southwest of England, on the outskirts of Bath, is the organic dairy farm of father and son, Hugh and Graham. Their 600-acre farm has been in their family for 4 generations.
We've always milked cows here. This is where I live. I was born just behind us in that room there.
Together, they look after a milking herd of 160 Frisian cows, producing 1.2 million litres of milk a year, which they then handcraft into award-winning cheese.
So cheese making has very much always been in the blood. Ever since
grandparents, they made cheese in a wing of this house. The cheese would have been made when they had a surplus of milk, and they'd have then taken it off to market, probably almost immediately. It was a fresh cheddar cheese. Whoever bought it would have then ripened the cheese ready for sale.
The family's farmhouse cheesemaking stopped during the Second World War due to the regulation of the milk market. It was only in 1993, when Graham needed extra income for the farm to survive, that he decided to go back to the family's roots.
We needed to add value to what we produce in order to make the farm viable and attractive to the next generation. So we thought we'd diversify somehow. We looked at ice cream, we looked at cream, and we ended up doing cheese.
Son Hugh decided to take on the cheese business 10 years ago, although a career in farming wasn't always on the cards.
So I grew up on the farm, and there were times when I was young. I can remember a particular occasion when I was working on the farm. And me and my brother were putting in a fence, and it was chucking down with rain, and the rain was. I was wearing waterproofs, but rain was still running down the back of my neck. And I thought, when I'm older, I'm going to have a comfy desk and a warm office. There was always a bit of me that wanted to see if the grass was greener on the other side of the fence. And so I went off and worked in strategy consulting for 4 years. And having sat at a comfy desk in a warm office, you realise how dull that can become. Hello, how are you doing? Are you waiting for your milk? I think you are. And particularly when you start having children, you think, I want my children to have the same fun, outdoor upbringing that I had. So what drew me back to the farm was the lifestyle, and it was the lifestyle for my children.
Hugh's enthusiasm and drive is fundamental in keeping the farm's legacy going.
Family farms depend on farmers and generations. It's always good to have the new generation coming on and saying, come on, let's try something new.
Hugh may have the vision for the future, but Graham's understanding of farming is invaluable.
I rely on my father on a daily basis for his advice and his direction. He often has a lot more knowledge about the farming than I do.
Is that about right?
22 miles away, near the small town of Bruton, lived Paul Kimber.
Oh, hello, girl. You're smart, aren't you? Lovely lady.
Paul's family have been farming the pastures around the Blackmore Vale for 350 years. And central to the farm's survival have been their 200-strong herd of cattle.
What we've got here is our dairy herd, which is made up of British Friesians, which are the black and white ones. And then we've got the brown, those are dairy shorthorns, and they're pedigrees as well. So there's two separate herds here. You're a big baby, aren't you, eh? These are the ones that will be destined for the butcher's shop. But not yet. Shh.
Along with their Aberdeen Angus cattle, the couple now rear Gloucester Old Spot pigs, turkeys, ewes and lambs. But managing their livestock on their 500-acre farm is no mean feat. Luckily, Ruth and Paul have a large brood to help them with the business.
We were really fortunate to have 6 children. We've got 5 girls and a boy. Before you ask, the boy's in the middle. They have been a great support to us all through the years. They're really hard-working children. But most of them are involved in the farm one way or another. And then we've got 13 grandchildren. And again, they're terrific. They're very helpful. So yeah, we've got almost certainly the next generation will continue after us.
Both from farming families, Ruth and Paul first met in a barn many moons ago.
My father and I went out to check the cows one night, and there was a cow we were expecting to calve, and she was clearly having problems. Dad said, why don't we ring the Kimbers? And so Paul arrived. That's when we first met.
That's it?
Calving a cow.
Yeah, about 11 o'clock one night.
And we've
In a barn.
been doing it ever since, really. We got married in 1973. Many people said, oh, a bit young, never lasts. Hey, it has. It's good. Yeah.
Ruth and Paul ran a successful dairy farm for 46 years. But after milk prices were repeatedly cut, the family fell on hard times.
We had many times during those years we considered selling the cows, and it got to the stage where
Hey, Cal, how you doing? Come on, tell me.
we've got to try and develop another income stream.
Having previously sold a few chickens and pigs to locals, the couple decided to expand, and a request to sell their meat at a local market was the lifeline that they needed.
We were invited to go to Wincanton Farm, And I came home and I'd sold £76 worth. I was thrilled to bits. Paul was not quite so sure. He thought, you know, all morning,
retail business.
all morning, really?
We started off doing the markets to put volume into the business, but also so that it became a shop window. You would go to the various markets and then people would say, oh, well, I won't be coming next week. I'll come to you.
Our customers were coming out here, knocking on the door. Do you have a roast for us? And so we then built a little farm shop, but we outgrew it. And we had opportunity to buy a little small holding.
Ruth is the driving force behind their new butchers, and with daughters Rebecca running the cafe and Naomi heading up the shop, business is booming.
I manage with Mum. We do it together. We source all of the products and we pride ourselves in finding the best that the Southwest has got to offer.
The Kimbers have worked hard, successfully expanding their farm.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
But the Bath Farmers Market is still an important part of their business.
Going to Bath every week, you're able to build up a relationship with not only the customers, but the other traders. And it's like a big family atmosphere, really.
Back near Bath, Hugh's Cheese Factory is getting busy. In the last decade, the farm's cheese business has matured nicely, tripling their income. Now, 70% of their organic milk is going directly into their cheese production.
It may appear, looking at these walls of cheese, to be a big operation. Tiny. I know cheddar makers that would produce in 2 days the same volume of cheese as we'd produce in a year. So although this looks big, we're still very much a minnow and an artisan cheesemaker.
With help from a small team, Hugh produces 80 tons of cheese a year, making 4 different types. He's particularly proud of their soft cheese, inspired by a local recipe dating back to the 1790s.
The way we're making it is really very similar to how it would have been made back in the 19th and 18th century.
Between 4:30 and 6:30, I have another big parcel. Oh my God! Look at that! Sunglasses, 10 beach balls. I've already got some beach balls in yesterday's bag. Bracelets, like the rubber bracelets.
Cracking cheese is labor intensive.
Some more You Are Awesome cards. And 10 keyboards.
One of the most difficult to perfect.
10 keyboards. Yeah. That's great. 10 keyboards. That's going to be great. Oh my God.
He persevered, and he now has a winning formula.
We needle our cheeses by hand. And we need each cheese about 200 times.
I am the goodie bag guy. Oh yeah.
It's very dense inside. We can put more needle holes in. Whereas if it is very open, then we don't need to needle it so often.
Their Bath Blue